It's no surprise that the right-wing majority Supreme Court rules in favor of a bigoted Christian.
Breaking news from the Supreme Court at this hour. The justice is deciding on a pair of cases for sweeping implications here for the First Amendment, anti-discrimination laws, as well as student debt. And the court has just ruled now on the first of those cases. It features the owner of a Colorado web design company who did not want to create wedding websites for same-sex couples, and the court has held that that website designer does not have to, that free speech is her right, and that Colorado's anti-discrimination law cannot force her to do this website for same-sex couples if she does not want to.
So anybody can say that their business is part of their free speech and that they don't have to do something if it goes against their free speech. With the cake bakers, they based it upon their religion. So you have two cases where uh, if your religious belief is being racist or your personal opinion is being racist, you don't have to do business with the person, even if you're a public business.
Let's go right to NBC's Laura Jarrett, who's reading this decision along with me. Here we go again. So here's a case where the Supreme Court has reversed the lower courts and said this wedding website designer cannot be forced to provide this service, web design, in contrast to something that she believes, which in her case is that same-sex marriage is not valid.
A major decision for states across the country that have anti-discrimination laws like Colorado trying to enforce them. But in this case, the high court, in a divided ruling, has ruled in favor of Lorie Smith, that graphic designer who, as you mentioned, says that she wants to make wedding websites, but she hasn't actually made any thus far. But she says she fears being fined under Colorado's law, which applies.
Well, that's wild. She has never made a website, but she's considered a website designer and is afraid she's going to be punished. Like, wow, what paranoia? Like, did she just do this so that she can get a law passed or a court case precedent passed so that people can be discriminatory? Because that seems to be the case.
Applies to all public accommodations, which says as long as you're holding your business out to the public, you have to treat everybody equally, which means you can't discriminate on the basis of someone's sexual orientation. And in this case, they say that violates her right to free speech. Now, she has.
That's hilarious how they're claiming that uh, laws preventing people from being discriminatory violates their freedom of speech. Like, no, it does not violate your freedom of speech. Uh, just don't be a racist. That's easy.
Said in interview.
Well, not this, in this case, not a racist, but a bigot, a homophobe. It's all the same. I wouldn't be surprised if this chick was also a racist. I mean, it's a right wing. They hate anybody that isn't white and Christian.
That she's actually happy to make other types of websites for gay individuals. So it's not just that she doesn't want to discriminate, but she says in particular when it comes to marriage, that's something that she opposes. Now, of course, this is.
Right, I wouldn't doubt this chick has been like 2 or 3 times divorced. Like she truly cares about like marriage.
A court that has largely ruled in favor of those who have made religious freedom type of arguments before. But we should note this is a different type of case. This is on First Amendment grounds. And so it doesn't depend on the fact that she has a religious objection to it. She could have actually objected to it for any reason, as long as it's about her free speech. Now, one of the things we're going to be looking for as we dissect this opinion is where is the line? How does the court decide?
I mean, making a cake for people doesn't actually like prevent you from using your free speech. So this is pretty hilarious in my opinion. It's just all based on just bullshit.
That she, as an artist, has that right. But what about a florist? What about a wedding caterer? Those are typically businesses, again, open to the public that cannot discriminate. And one of the things.
She's not even an artist. I mean, how can you say you're an artist if you haven't even made any art? If she hasn't even made a website, she's not even a web designer.
Things that certain liberals on the court brought up at oral argument was, how are you supposed to handle a situation in which somebody decides they don't want to serve an interracial couple? In other words, discriminating on the basis of race. Everyone kind of gets their arms around that situation and can say that.
Well, yeah, based upon somebody's free speech, they don't have to uh, provide a service or a product to somebody that is interracial if they claim making that product or giving them that service violates their uh, free speech. This is all just a way to bring back segregation.
It doesn't seem like that would pass muster under the Constitution. But in this case, how is it different? How is it different in the case of somebody who wants to discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation versus race? That's one of the things that we're now going to be looking for. But the major headline here is that the High Court has ruled in her favor, and now we'll see what happens next.
And
Savannah?
we have this 6 conservatives, ideological conservatives on the bench in the majority here. The opinion is written by Justice Gorsuch. In dissent, once again, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson. And Justice Sotomayor, in dissent, says, today the court, for the first time in its history, grants a business open to the public a constitutional right to refuse to serve members of a protected class. I mean, this goes back to what you were just talking about, Laura, which was how you viewed this case. The question presented was whether or not a wedding website was an act of free speech, in which case you can't compel someone to say something they don't agree with, or was it kind of an off-the-shelf product, like a pair of shoes or something that you could buy, and if you put those for sale, you have to sell them to everyone under public accommodation laws. And the court is clearly saying this is an exercise of free speech, and this wedding website designer cannot be forced to put out a message she does not agree with.
And there was a lot of debate about whose speech is it, right? A lot of the members of the court, particularly Justice Sotomayor, said, wait a minute, isn't it the couple's free speech? Isn't she actually just doing whatever the couple want? And clearly Justice Gorsuch, on behalf of the majority, is saying no.
Yeah, it is the free speech of the couple that is actually being violated with this ruling. But, right-wingers don't care about people's freedoms unless it applies only to them, and that is also only applies to white Christian males, because right-wingers don't care about women, even the white Christian women.
No, when she makes that website, it's actually her free speech. It's her creative, unique art that she's putting out into the world, not the couples. And I think that's going to be a meaningful.
It's not even art. Let's not pretend her making a website is art.
Distinguishing factor here as we think about, again, how is the court drawing these lines? How is the court going to sort of figure out where the rules of the road are for other businesses that may not want to serve gay couples?